Wholeness, wholeness, wholeness. What's up, y'all? We're going to give it time for people to come in and those notifications to come back out. We're going to try this again. It seems as if there was a little bit of technical difficulties. In the meantime, allow yourself to get ready with some tea in your notebook, a pen to write some notes down. Remember to like, share, and subscribe onto the channel if you like this type of information. So what I am going to discuss on this live is the lunar eclipse that is coming up on March 25th. And that is a penumbral lunar eclipse. And so you'll see partial, like a partial lunar eclipse pretty much. And I did talk about the full total solar eclipse that is happening in April 8th. If you haven't already caught that video, please be sure to tap into that. As well as the Mercury retrograde. They both have very important information that is necessary for you to, oh, sugar snaps. Okay. I was just playing with the phone and it was changing some things up here. So anyways, they all have information that is going to be very potent for the next couple of weeks and very important for you to navigate through. And like I said in the total solar eclipse video, I'm giving you an overall energy as to how this an overall energetic reading, right? As to how the weather of the astros are going to be behaving, right? And depending on what is going on in your personal chart, depending on what's going on in your chart will determine if it's, going to be something that is going to impact you in a very quote unquote negative way. I don't look at it as like negative and positive, but it may be a bit harsher for some of you. And for some of you, this is going to be such a beautiful like activation, and it's not going to feel that harsh like it may feel for other people, because everyone has their own energetic signature, right? So with that being said, without me looking at your chart, I can't really say, hey, you want to avoid this or not. This energy, this particular lunar eclipse that is coming up this month, March 25th, is just as important as April 8th. And it's very much a catalyst of peace. It's very much a catalyst that will usher us through to that portal on April 8th. However, I will definitely do some reflection, maybe go back to your journals. October, I can't remember the exact date now. I think it was October 23rd when we had the last lunar eclipse in the sign of Libra for 2023. This energy is pretty much like going to be a closing out of that energy. So there may feel like some deja vu type energies or like flashback, especially because Mercury is going to be in pre-shadow phase, right? We also do have Mercury doing a dance with Chiron like right before and the nodes. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that's on the 18th itself. So let's talk about the time, right? And like certain locations. So this lunar eclipse is also going to cast like a blood moon type of appearance. And it is going to be visible in like half of Africa, in Europe, in North and East Asia, the Americas, both North and South America, the Arctic and Antarctica as well. So those are places where, you know, this lunar eclipse is going to be visible. And then the time that it begins, so depending, I'm going Eastern Standard Time, so definitely, you know, convert the time to your time zone. So for some of you, this is March 24th, and for some of you, this is March 25th. And so the eclipse is going to begin at 12:53 a.m. So after midnight, in the middle of the night, right? And it is going to reach its peak at 3:12 a.m. And then it's not gonna end until like 5:32 a.m. So it's a 4 hour and 39 minute eclipse. And like I said, this is really tying up loose ends. So what was going on in your life in October? Did you start something in October and you didn't finish? Did something come up for you in October that was really getting in your face for you to really look at what needed healing, what needed to be reestablished, what needed some alchemy or some balance in your life, right? You know, perhaps you were navigating through certain things and things were coming up and you didn't realize that it was going to play a major role or catalyst to your future, right? And so what were your dreams telling you around that time period? What was your experiences with your partners, with your friends, with, you know, just those that were closest to you? Yeah. So for this, for March 25th, I'm just looking at the chart here. We have a third house stellium. Okay, so we know that there's going to, and I mentioned this during the Mercury retrogrades video, so I highly recommend that you watch that video. I'm not going to go into everything all over again. If you want to really get the nitty gritty, make sure you are also tuning into that video. So we have Mars, we have Venus, we have Neptune, and we have Saturn, all in Pisces in the third house. The third house is the house of siblings. It's the house of your aunts and uncles. It's the house of your neighbors. It's the house of communication. It's the house of children. It's the house of children's education or education in itself, right? So definitely seeing how important it is to look at what it is that your children or your neighbor, you are allowing yourselves to be educated by. Or if you're studying something, is it spiritual based? Is it spiritually aligned with you, right? Are you tapping into a space of service for others as well? Not in a way where it is just selfish in your spiritual endeavors, and not completely selfless to where you are just a sacrificial lamb. Remember, Libra is about balance, right? But Saturn is very much about karma. Saturn is very much about service to others. Saturn is very much about discipline and longevity. And so perhaps some of you are going to be thinking about, you know, is this location where I would want to raise my children? Or is this location, you know, where I see myself long term, right? These may be questions that come up for you during this time. We also have a stellium in Aries, as mentioned, during the solar eclipse, it's going to be more planets in Aries. We're going to have Venus joining us there in Aries. But during this time on March 25th, we have the sun, we have the north node, we have Chiron, and we have Mercury. All right. And this is in the fourth house. Now, the fourth house is the house of the mother. It's the house of nurturance. It's the home, right? So, I mentioned that we are in an energetic decluttering and restarting, right? The home here. This is also parents, so it's the house of parents, but more leaning towards the mother, okay, because it is ruled by Saturn. I'm sorry, is ruled by Cancer. I don't know why I just said Saturn there. So this energy is going to be potent, right? I'm probably also feeling guided to maybe pull like a tarot card with this energy. So give me a moment. I didn't plan on doing this part. So some of you can be maybe tapping into some healing of like mother wounds or abandonment issues. This can definitely be, maybe in certain areas where you didn't necessarily see eye to eye. This is also an integration of fire and water elements, energies in itself within your own being. So tapping into that without evaporating, without burning out or getting watered down, but really allowing yourself to become like steam, right? Navigating through your energy and how that looks like for you. Okay, so we have the Son of Swords, and I have to cover this up just a little bit because it has a piece of man. All right. So definitely messages as we spoke about. What is the Son of Swords? And we talked about mercurial energy, right? With the 4 wands in the home. All right. Sacred marriage, 4th house, as we spoke about before. With Uranus and Jupiter being in the 5th house, this is really this is a really juicy energy, because this energy is going to allow for you to really see what are the dilemmas and the issues that have been presenting itself for the last year. But again, we're talking about what it is that you may have been seeing on social networks or your experiences with, because they're both in the sign of Taurus, right? So what have you been experiencing with your finances? What you have been experiencing with that which you value? What have you been experiencing with your stability? Right? Are you feeling stable? I would highly recommend Muladhara working with your root chakra. All right. Doing some asanas and some breath work, getting into those spaces here. This energy is going to move pretty fast. We do have the rising sign in Capricorn and the descending sign in Cancer for this lunar eclipse. So that, anyone who is a Capricorn or Cancer is definitely going to feel this energy, and this is sun, moon, or rising. Anyone who is a Pisces and Aries, a Libra for sure, right? Aries, Libra, Capricorn, yeah. You're definitely going to feel these energy the strongest. All right, the vortex is in the 8th house here. So, and this is with some of you maybe have a bit of like stubbornness that you're having to work through, right? Perhaps you have some like, maybe you look at yourself as very compassionate and loving and trustworthy and, all these great characteristics about yourself, but you can maybe be stubborn in the way that you communicate or allow yourself to really open your heart to experiences and whatnot. And so that's something to think about because the vortex in the eighth house is in a bit of a deep transformative place from like that selfishness and the fears, really bringing you to the occasion to really heal those issues of where you may have been fixed in your ways, to become a little bit more flexible so that this could allow the fluidity of your energy to manifest in a fruitful way. And as I mentioned, this eclipse is happening on the 25th, but you're going to feel the activations of it from like possibly now, or today's the 16th. Definitely pay attention from the 18, the 19. Okay, we also have our solar return happening for the seasons on the excuse me. Let me take a sip of water. Where is my drink? Oh, right here. Excuse me. March 19th. That is when we have the spring equinox, right? And so that is the solar new year in a sense, right? This is when the sun is reborn. So you're going to feel a lot of those activations super amplified during this time. Because as stated, with the eclipse coming in on the 8th, that's really to usher in this like new beginning, right? This new this change, this massive change. So this lunar eclipse that's happening this month is still going to bring that massive change, but it's really acting like a catalyst of showing you what it is that you did need to close out from 2023 and what it is that may have still been lingering for you to make sure that by the time you get to April 8th that you are you are doing everything in your power to be at a balanced space. Now, what I didn't get to mention in the video for April 8th that I usually mention in most of my eclipse videos is I did mention on April 8th that that's an obstruction, right? The sun is being obstructed by the moon. And so I mentioned that, but what does that mean for you? So an eclipse the sun being obstructed by the moon by a particular degree, whether it's a total eclipse or a partial eclipse, means that there is going to be something hidden around you that may be difficult to see. Right? And so there's going to be lots of revelations. And that's why it's important to do the reflection work that I mentioned from October of 2023 and look at your journals, maybe look at that time period and what was going on, because it may not have been easy for you to see these activations and these occurrences in your life that were for a vital change, for your balance, or for a karmic clearing of some sort, or to confront certain wounds that needed alchemy, right? That needed to be alchemized. right? And so now you have the opportunity to look back, reflect, and say, wow, I didn't even see that coming, or I didn't even realize I do this, or I didn't realize that I was still holding on to this energy, right? It's kind of like the unseen allows itself to become revealed within time. And that's why it acts as a major catalyst for this energy to show itself. Excuse me. So yeah. Also what that means is that on a collective level, there are going to be things that is going to um kind of like be hidden in our face that we may not be able to like see, or that we haven't seen right away. And so we know that there has been, I spoke about like the war stuff, right? And how these things have kind of been like, exposed out there through the internet and whatnot, but they're not talking about everything that's going on there, right? And so I don't know why I haven't even fully read this book, but I heard of it. I'm kind of hearing wow, dang it, I just had the name of it. Silent something for Silent Wars. Let me look this up real quick. Bear with me, y'all. Silent Weapons for Silent Wars. That's the name of the book that is coming up. They do have a PDF here, so you can like look this up. It's a pretty expensive book, and certain, I guess it depends where you buy it from. Some places have it a little bit cheaper, but some places have it for like $100 and whatnot. Some places have it for about like $40. So anyways, I don't know why that book is coming out as a reference. So I guess that's something for me to also pay attention to. So silent weapons for silent wars, and kind of like, maybe there was a frenemy that got exposed, or, someone that, a hidden weapon. I also feel like this is like your inner spiritual gifts as your defense, as your spiritual defense weapon, that is activated during this time, during a spiritual war that's going on, right? And so definitely paying attention to your activations. What is your body asking for? Let me go back to the chart here. What is your body asking for? We are going to have Pluto in the second house here. Do we have anything going on over here? Let me see here. So with the vertex being in the 8th house, this is also symbolic of maybe for some of you, again, it depends on what's going on in your chart, but for some of you, this can be like near-death experiences as well, or out-of-body experiences. For some of you, this can be extreme like bondage and feeling like trapped. There could be something with a Leo. Perhaps a Leo is very significant in your life, that plays a vital role in your life. Or perhaps you are a Leo, or you have Leo placements that is trying to usher you through the release of like this bondage, this energy that has been keeping you trapped, and bringing you into a space of liberation. Because remember, Libra is liberal, it's liberation. It likes to be balanced, it likes to be free, and sometimes it can be like people pleasing, but like Leo energy very much is like, I do what is best for the people based on what I think is going to be best for me as well, and what is best for So like making hard decisions in a sense, right? What is best for the community and working from a heart space, right? So definitely, like, if you are feeling like heavy in your chest and your heart, um look at, if you don't have any heart conditions, then possibly, can you expand your breath to go deeper and slower, to release what is stressing you out. Maybe get a massage for your shoulders and your arms and your upper back, or perhaps, just really tapping into heart chakra asanas, right? I did mention the Muladhara, I did mention the root chakra, but the Anahata, I definitely see that being like a hidden an activation in the heart chakra that is going to need like a really good balance with your root chakra. So that way this can like have you traveling with love and grace throughout the rest of the next couple of weeks that we are going to be energetically traveling through, right? And I mean that both like physical, spiritual, and like literal traveling in your vehicles as well, right? Did you have certain situations occur during October of 2023 with your vehicles? Maybe that's something to like look at. Are you finding yourself complete with that situation? Are you finding yourself having to reevaluate certain things when it came down to that, right? These are just certain things that I'm looking at. This could have also been that perhaps some of you may have been, going through a separation with somebody at that time, and it was like a temporary separation, and you found yourself like reevaluating that relationship, in a space where like, how did you recover what you need to recover? How did you change and heal a lot of that? Are ya navigating through this in a harmonious way? Are ya still feeling like you need time for yourself? Because this energy is going to be a little bit more isolated and personal, and that is absolutely okay. And for some of you, that can trigger some insecurities if you haven't done the inner healing work, the inner child healing work, or the shadow work, to face some of this by yourself, right? What does that mean for you and your contracts with other people, right? On a soul level, on a spiritual level. I also see this energy as a how do you tap into your luxury for longevity? How do you tap into your beauty? How do you tap into making your values seem valuable to others as well? And on a shadow side, this can possibly be like comparison, like comparing your way of doing things to other people's way of doing things, or what other people have to share. And I would just really say, like, look at what is weird about you, what is quirky, what is uncomfortable, and like make magic with that and let that work to your benefit. Like, your difference is what makes you unique and what makes people want to look at you, as opposed to like looking the same, right? So like, for example, I use this filter. I fucking love this filter. Okay, it just is what it is. But it's something that is out there for other people to use as well, right? And so is it so unique to a certain degree, right? Not everybody's going to like it. I like it. Not everybody's going to like it. But are other people going to use it? Yeah. And so does that make it unique to me? No. right? But what is weird about me, or what is, there are experiences that I've had that people my age or even older had never ever experienced, and I can use that in a way of helping others to elevate in their life and expand in their life. And sometimes, people, if they was ever to see my chart, then they'll be like, oh, I fucking get it, I understand now, like it was no fucking joke, for real, right? But like, some people wouldn't even know. They'll probably like think it's, exaggerate. I'm sorry, I was getting rid of something. Or like, it may not be realistic to them. But anyways, nonetheless, what is realistic to you, right? I don't see as much confusion during this lunar eclipse like I do in April 8th, but I do still see here a bit of confusing energy, especially once Mercury goes retrograde, which Mercury will be retrograde during this lunar eclipse, okay? And again, y'all, if your chart is showing that this is going to be like extremely impactful in a way that like perhaps, it will impact your physical body or something like that, or, you can prevent something ill or malicious from happening to you, then don't go out if it's not serving you. But if it is like something that is going to be like really beneficial for you, then yeah, go out and enjoy the day. But definitely, like I said, for the April 8th, this energy is really just showing as a catalyst for that. And again, it is like, partial. And so this, if I'm not mistaken, last time it was crossing the United States on October of 2023. It crossed the United States horizontally, and this time it's gonna cross vertically, right? And so paying attention to that is like, how are you feeling in your body, right? Paying attention to your body and the movement with it, right? Because in October 2023, for a lot of you, it may have seemed a bit chaotic, but for a lot of us, it was also a really good time, and you may have felt really grounded, right? And in this instance, like, you may be feeling like really wanting to like usher up, move forward, and go up, like just go the distance. And I will say that, there are certain things that, because you're not going to see everything, it's like, allow yourself to either, get acquainted with your own energy. Well, I'm always going to recommend that, right? Getting acquainted with your own energy. But get acquainted to your surroundings, like I mentioned, like your neighborhood, and see what has shifted, what has changed. I would say, hidden details, like things that, because there's an unforeseen event that's going to happen, is what I'm trying to say. That is going to be difficult to say. And because I'm looking at a like general thing, I'm not looking at your particular energy per se. For some of you, this can be that you unexpectedly get proposed to, right? And you're like, holy cow, I did not expect this to happen. And you have to like really evaluate, is this a union that is, a trauma bond? Is this a union that is based on comfortability of what I know due to my fears? Does this, connection speak to my inner child wounds? Does it speak to abandonment issues? Does it speak to fear of being independent and making it on my own? Does this relationship speak on my survival needs, right? Does this relationship depend on finances and what this person has to support me with, and etc.? Like things like that, right? What has been keeping you hostage and bondage within your own being? And can you confront those things with yourself? Because this energy is asking you to challenge yourself in those areas. So, Is that going to be everyone's case? Absolutely not. This is why I keep saying it really depends on what's going on in your chart, because the vortex, you know, being in the 8th house, we do have Cancer in the 7th house, the descending sign. And so, you know, that energy in itself, it could be, like I said, mother wounds that's having to come up to the forefront, or a pattern that's surrounding some sort of like karmic stuff that's going on with like the mother or the father, like parents is what I mentioned before. This could also be that you get pregnant unexpectedly, right? An unexpected pregnancy, or perhaps you didn't think you can have a baby and you've been doing, maybe you were told that you could never have children or something like that. And you've done all the healing work. You've done the holistic thing. You've balanced out your hormones, and you get an unexpected like pregnancy, and you're like, oh my gosh, this was like, because with the vortex, with, you know, vortex and Leo, that's also children. That is also children as well. So there, I can definitely see how, like, you know, through sex magic, or, you know, well, all sex is magical, is sacred. It's sacred energy exchange, you know. And so I definitely, yeah, if you're not trying to like get pregnant from a one night stand, just kind of avoid those energies right now. That's not really at your best interest. But if this is someone who you definitely want to become fertilized with and whatnot, and this can be either a conception, right? So conceiving the baby at this time, or this can be when you find out the news of a baby. Especially because the 2 cards that came out was the Son of Swords, which is the Page of Swords, and the 4 of Wands. So I can definitely see that. It could also be that maybe one of your children, maybe you have children and you're going to be like a grandparent, or one of your children proposes to one of their partners or something like that. And as stated, for some of you, this could be changing locations, okay? Maybe changing some of your devices also is what I'm picking up on. Maybe you know, having certain issues or phone breaks or something like that, and changing a device, and you decide, you know what, I think it's time for me to just get a new phone number altogether, or something like that. Where it's almost like you are really wanting to come into this with like a brand new start, and it's different than how you experienced last year, for real. So that is what I have for y'all right now for this moon. I'm probably still gonna do the zodiac signs at readings. If I do, I will let y'all know. If y'all have any questions, shoot those questions out right now. If not, I am going to let y'all go and post a replay on YouTube. So like I mentioned before, if you have not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please be sure to do that. That's where you can catch the Mercury and retrograde video, as well as the April 8th solar eclipse video, which are all going to be potent for the next couple of weeks. So you want to hear the energetics for those as well. I strongly recommend everyone listen to those. And I'm not seeing any questions. So on that note, I will leave you. I feel complete here. And I'll leave you all with wholeness.